Hello, hello, hello. My name is Kevin. We are Dirty 20 Gaming, and it is Sunday night, and it has been a while since we've done our dramatic Sunday nights. We are back with a new series, 10 weeks this time, some familiar faces, some new faces, and some faces. This one keeps showing up. So, before we start the game, we have to first do the technical stuff. By the technical stuff, I mean we have to thank the people that made this overlay and stuff that you're looking at look as good as it does. First, the character art was done on Hero Forge. This time I used the token feature, and they're up on the top corner of each of the characters. They're amazing quality. You can blow them up and see some stupendous detail on them. We even did a little bit of modification on one of them. You have to get a great big TV to see what we did. Uh, um, we also use the background image itself, all that fancy filigree, the little corners, and all the stuff that you see on here is from Pixabay, who is a great place to get copyright-free art to share and use. And this is the big one. We are now using Astral Virtual Tabletop as our VTT of choice. You can go and see them at astraltabletop.com. I am in no way, shape, or form paid for saying this, but it's pretty. Oh, it looks good. You can see it on the screen here next to me. And this is only some of the effects. We'll be playing with that during tonight and the rest of the season. Speaking of the season, we should talk about the game for 1 minute because that's longer than it takes to explain the rules. The system is my system. It's called Balance, and it is designed to be the most simple, rules out of the way gaming system there is. So that's all you need to know about that. It will make obvious sense what you need to do when we get into it, which means we get now to get to the important stuff, which is the people. These people that keep showing up to play with me, no matter what I do to them and the other people on this channel before them. I say, who wants to be in the next show? And they go, me, 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 me. So you brought this on yourselves. With that, I'm going to go around the order you guys. I've got you guys in Zoom just so I don't miss anybody. Let's start with our friend Sands playing Lady Mary Talbot tonight, and we'll get to Lady Mary in a couple minutes. But thank you for joining us, first of all.
Oh, I would not have missed this.
I'm so happy I could see from your background art that you are ready to roll. Yes. What are you doing that you can talk about when you're not here playing this with us?
I'm over at the Scarred Adventurer writing blog, and I know that's going to be talked about more later. I can say that I am starting 2 brand new channels. I can't say their names yet, but that's coming really soon. I have the video almost done.
That's okay. That just means that everybody has to tune back in next week.
Oh yeah,
to get the actual official announcement. And so with that, you're busy editing and prepping and doing all those production-y things?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I can see that face. I saw that. Well, forget about all that. Get that stress away. We're going to make some whole new stress tonight.
Yep.
I'd like to segue, but speaking of stress, here's the Scarred Adventurer. You know what? I wouldn't say that about anybody else because they take it the wrong way. But playing Everett McCall for us, the Scarred Adventurer. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me. And to just quickly talk about what I do, as it has been mentioned, I am the person in charge of the Scarred Adventurer writing blog. I'm also the Scarred Adventurer himself, so that kind of works out to be both things. But right now we've been on a little bit of a break, mostly because of multitudinous of factors. But we're going to be trying to come back hopefully soon and start posting some more stuff again. And I say we, I really mean I will try to do that. I can't speak on behalf of everyone else because that is foolhardy and not polite to do, considering I haven't talked to them about this already. Sorry. Anyways.
Having said that, the stuff that is already on there will keep people busy until you guys all get around to doing new content.
Yes,
And
if
I
you
know when I was writing stuff, it's my inspiration was very cyclical. So you'll get like 10 pieces in a month and then nothing for 6 months. So, people know it's a creative place. They'll wait.
yeah, if like Kevin said, please tide yourself over with the lovely poetry on the blog, the art that gets put on the blog, uh, the short stories that get put on the blog, and the book that is slowly coming out on the blog. Chapter 4 is in the works. It is just in the works.
Yes. The works is full of stuff. The works must be a very large room because it is
It's
full of many, many
it's
projects.
it's like a shed that you have to chain up because you don't,
It's
everything will burst out.
But it's because it's much bigger on the inside. Uh, so we'll check you out there. Let's just keep going around the circle here. Playing Beowulf Black. Oh, yes. Playing Beowulf Blackmane for us tonight. Solar Dasher. You've seen them in many of our fun shots and previous series. Like I jokingly said last week, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. You are the second most face on this channel, second only to mine. Congratulations,
Thank
welcome back.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
We make your
Pleasure to
seat
be
comfortable
back.
here.
Yep.
Where can we
Werewolf
find
and
you?
Poe.
Yeah.
Well, you can definitely find me here on Twitch under my own channel, Solar_Dasher. I haven't streamed recently. I was going to, but then I realized, wait a minute, I only have an hour till it's time to get on. So, yeah,
I hate
it's been one
clocks.
of those days today.
Yeah, well, we'll fix that.
Yes, definitely. I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, excellent.
But I also have my own RPG channel for Bleach, the anime called Bleach: The Darkness Within. If you're interested in checking that out, you can certainly do so. Find me on the Dirty 20 Gaming Discord. If you
Bam! Oh, I was waiting on it, waiting on the send button, hanging over it.
Yep. So, I mean, you can find me there or not. It's up to you. But for the most part, that's besides working, that's what I do.
Thank you. And speaking of that Discord, it is one of the friendliest internet spaces you will ever find. Super supportive. That's what we're really all about here. Having fun, sharing joy. If you've seen us, that's what we do. And I saved this one for last because there is, I say this every time we have a new person on this channel, but there is a required level of bravery to say yes when somebody says, would you like to come on a Twitch stream live with 4 strangers who've done it lots and just get hurled in at the deep end in a system you've never used, in a game you've never played, with people you've never met? It takes a certain level of brave to say yes, please. And our next player did that. Welcome, first of all, to Chip Skylark. Thank you so much for joining us. And as I understand it, you don't so much have a virtual presence as you have a real presence. So if there is anything about that you would choose to share with us, let us, here's your time.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm a financial planner based in Alberta. I'm open to questions, but really you can find me on Discord. That's the best way to reach me, on the Roll20 Discord.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Play with us for a while. You'll catch the bug. You'll start streaming in no time. Everybody does.
The sickness.
It is. It's an addiction. It's terrible. No, it's better than most. I mean, it could be doing crack in a basement, right?
Yeah.
Instead, I'm doing this in a basement.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, look at the segues. They are piling on tonight. This game is called 1866. Not surprisingly, it's set in 1866. I picked that year for a very specific reason. And I am a history buff, and I don't expect anybody else to be. So let me just fill you in on some of the things that were happening in and around 1866. For those of us who are Canadian, we are 1 year away from the Confederation of Canada. That happened in 1867. see future adventure, already half written. Just before this, the U.S. Civil War ended 1 year before this game starts, 1865. Before that, there was the, pardon me while I can read this, the Second Opium Wars just happened. The Perry Expedition, which was the American expedition that reopened Japan to foreign trade by driving into the harbor, pointing guns at them and saying, trade with us or we'll shoot. That happened less than 15 years ago. The Taiping Rebellion is going on. So there's no place in the world that isn't torn apart and hasn't been for a long time. The Mexican-American War happened within the last 15 years. Napoleon was less than 50 years ago. Waterloo survivors are still on the streets. The Wild West is in full swing. And unbeknownst to our characters, but our players would know, the Age of the Samurai is on the brink of ending. In fact, the reopening to trade from the Perry Expedition leads to this happening within 2 years of the end of our little adventure today. So it's a pretty interesting time in history, and that's why I put this game there. With that, let's get into this game. You find yourselves in London. Just one moment while I get our characters here. I know you guys are just looking at smoke. This will get dramatically faster once Kevin is better at Astral. We are just getting started. There we go. That's what I wanted you to see. You guys now on your map should be able to see a small corner of a map of London. This, you have all responded to... Now we can see the boat you're on that is waiting for you. You answered a summons, each of you. Answered a call of some sort. A missive, a request, an advertisement maybe. And you followed the instructions, and now you find yourselves, of all places, at the Royal Dockyards in London. You are the only civilians inside this fenced area. The one thing the fence doesn't keep out, though, is the miasma, formed by the mixture of coal dust, coal smoke, steam, and fog that has filled the great city of London all summer. Coughing just thinking about it. It makes it hard to see. You can only, it's broad daylight, and you can only see to the next bend in the river. And it makes it even harder to breathe. London is a noisy city in 1866, and sounds that you can identify and some that you can't keep coming out of the mist. Through the ashfall and the haze, you each make out vague shapes, separated from each other on the docks as you're brought in by various entrances. Then as you get closer, figures, at first indistinct, but finally close enough you begin to make out clothing and at least a hint of faces. So Lady Talbot, as you quite literally loom out of the mist, without giving away much detail, what would we see from a distance through the fog, dramatically backlit for camera effect?
You would probably see a figure who is wearing a suit. Her bow tie indistinct at the moment, and with a probably like a book obviously in her arm
that you're being forced to keep dusting. There's enough ashfall you actually have to keep dusting it off before you flip pages or your book's going to get all bunged up. Everett, you're used to the smoke of battle. So this isn't out of the ordinary, but as you walk through this cloud, So what are the first impressions people would see?
There's the hard sound of leather boots just hitting the ground. Both thumbs are kind of behind the belt. The belt is as he just continues walking, not quite tense, but ready.
Mm-hmm. With a hint of an accent already showing. I love it. It's creeping in already. Beowulf. Beowulf Blackmane. Of a family that, shall we say, no longer attends some of the same schools they used to.
He is a very
Looms is probably the right word. Yeah, tell us. Yeah, what do we see?
yeah, he's a very tall, 6'6" man who's very muscular, has a dark black beard and mustache and long black hair, wearing all black clothing. Just kind of saunters in.
Just absolutely. And finally, because of the way the wind was blown, the last one to be exposed, Dan Mann, doorman, pardon me, and London expert, probably more than the rest of them here. You're used to smog. This is different. But as you emerge from this, what do we see first?
First thing you realize when you see Dan walking through is he's about an average height, not too tall like you might expect. However, his shoulders are broad as the Empire's reach, with a jawline as strong as an American's will to leave the said empire.
Oh, I love it. The wedge comes out of the smog. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. It isn't until the four of you are escorted, each by your own ensign, to and over the gangplank onto the small steam yacht, the Zephyr. Every steampunk game ever has either a boat or an airship called the Zephyr, so I'm just getting it out of the way at the very start of the first episode so we don't have to do it anymore. you get on the steam yacht, the Zephyr, and as you do, you're finally close enough to start seeing some details about each other. Do it the opposite way this time. Dan, something you didn't tell us before, something we wouldn't see until you were quite close.
Dan has a ridiculously high pompadour hairstyle that is the same ashen black and white that the smog around him has.
Oh, wow.
Also, a bright pink tie contrasts his dark suit.
That is a bold choice for 1866. Perfect. Beowulf, something we didn't notice from a distance.
If looks could kill, his probably would kill a couple of people in an instant. He's got this smug, nasty look on his face, like, touch me and you're gonna regret it type thing.
Is Beowulf glowering?
Huh?
Are they glowering? glowering.
Glowering?
Rarely used word. Glowering. Yeah, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. But yeah, it's like you said. But yeah, being okay. We'll use your words because they're better. So yes, you got the attitude as you step onto the boat.
Yeah, just like I can't believe I have to be with these people and on a boat.
Everett, what do we see that we didn't see from across the deck?
A nice gun is holstered right at Everett's right hip, and to the side you can see a set of swords that don't seem quite of anything that you've really seen before. Maybe heard of, but not seen. And he kind of just smiles a little bit, and he looks at, and I look at everyone and just give a knowing nod and continue moving forward.
And there's one other thing we should
Oh,
probably, yeah.
and yeah. As with all my characters, they have to have a scar.
it's thematic.
The scarred adventurer.
Yeah.
So right from my cheekbone to about the lower half of my ear, there's a nasty scar that goes across my face. Something that clearly shows that there's something that says there's a story here. But at the same time, are you quite brave enough to ask it?
The writing is very small. That's what it says. No, this isn't a comedy. Shut up, Kevin. Stop. Okay. The four of you are escorted onto the steam yacht. The captain, you hear him yelling orders inside the small cabin in the center, and embers burst from the stack. as
Did
the
we get to
steam
hear a
engines
bit more
fire.
about Lady Mary Talbot?
We were doing so well. I was on point, and then I fell on that point, and it went right through my eye. Oh, Lady Mary Talbot, may we please have a detail that we did not have from a distance?
So her hair is put up in a bun. She's blonde as well. And her suit are her family colors of blue.
Oh, okay. And yes, the Talbot family would be in this version of this world. Super history buffs, shush. In this version of this world, the Talbot family would be well known and associated with those colors because this world has a lot of lords and ladies in it. There's a lot of value placed on lordships. We'll get to that shortly. For right now, the ship bursts from the dock, particulate matter adding to the cloud of filth in the sky. It pulls away from probably the most private dock in the world and starts making its way up the river, pushing against the force of the river itself, the Thames, all that power, and the outgoing tide. Because of these adverse conditions, almost no one else is on the river. So your boat proceeds through the smog in almost darkness, even though it's midday. Even at full power, it takes time for this boat to progress. And therefore, your trip into London consists of a series of landmarks taking their turns looming out of the acrid smog. First, you take a look at the map, you can follow along with it. First, as you approach the first bend, the West India docks gives you an idea of the size of this city. For any of you that, even for those of you who are from here, these docks are 3 blocks wide and 4 blocks deep each, and there's 4 of them. As you come around the corner, you see where all that labor must live. On the north side, the tenements of the dock workers. Again, filthy with coal dust from all of this production. Gets, weirdly enough, quiet as you come around this next corner. Almost fearful, because on your right-hand side on the north bank, the Tower of London. It is the only building in London which has no smokestacks. No steam power, no gadgets, nothing new. Just 750 years of cold granite, suffering. Almost to lighten things up, the next couple things are the famous bridges of London. First, London Bridge itself, the first one you see as you head in. Then Southwestern, Blackfriars, and Waterloo. Bridge that's only 50 years old. As you round the corner, a rail bridge comes into sight. Beyond that, your eventual goal. You stop in front of a landmark, in front of a landmark, in front of a landmark. Just visible through the smoke, the Houses of Parliament, Whitehall, where it is said the business of Parliament is really done. And behind that, palace. The driver of the boat pulls up and gives instructions. And the boat sort of does the aquatic equivalent of a hover. stops just off the end of the dock to give you a second to take in where you are and who it must have been that asked you to come. The boat then slides over the dock. Lady Talbot, you're a little bit of a separate story, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But the four of you, as you dock, the ensigns that brought you each bring you very formally to the edge of the dock, where you step up and are greeted by a government official who simply nods and waits until the four of you are on the dock. Anything you'd like to do at this point? The yacht starts to pull away, leaving you standing here.
Better be worth my time.
Right, we could have just walked here.
I mean, you're not wrong, but would you want it in this all, this kind of smog and smoke that's been going on? I feel like this may have just been faster.
You noticed on the way here, this ashfall is so, you're used to it. You all are from, or at least have been in this city for a while. It is so thick that when you go under the bridges, it's like being under a bridge in a snowfall. You could feel the difference.
Right. Well, it's just the way technology's going.
The guard, without saying a word, just nods as though everyone has said the wisest thing in the world and signals to come with him, and he turns and heads into the Houses of Parliament. You do not go in by the front doors. You go in by a little hallway that goes around the back. You do not go through the public areas. You go through very plain wooden hallways with no windows and just rows of endless doors, identical to each other. And finally, you go up a flight of stairs into much grander offices. This is where the lords of the house have their offices. Your dour guard leads you to one of the grandest of these spaces and bows the four of you in. Not a word is said, and you are not announced. He stands there gesturing for the four of you to enter the room.
With that, I've already entered the room.
Right, I was going to say, I'm
Oh,
on
okay,
the
you
way
guys
in.
just went in? All right, so, okay.
I don't know quite the customs of London as well as everyone else might.
In that
Yes.
case, for the first time, I will just quickly go over it so everybody knows what you're doing. If I have just posted a handout to you guys. So if you now go to the bottom left and do the view handouts, it is called Lady Ada. And if I did this right,
You did it right.
you should be able to see it on Twitch as well. There she is. Yes. She is, she dyes her hair. She is a woman closing in on 60 years of age. She wears all purple, and the monocle itself there's nothing mechanical about it. It is just of a purple tinge. As you approach, she closes a small book, and anybody who's paying attention could see that it was actually a mathematical tome. She slides it back onto the shelf. Looks at you and says in a strong voice, "Thank you all for coming. Please." And she signals towards chairs at the end of the office.
Right, well, I'm going to go make myself at home in that chair there.
Well, I learned it's not quite customary to sit before the lady does.
I think you'll find I'm a very forward-thinking lady. Please, be my guest.
Well, if you insist.
And if
I shall
formality
never
makes
miss
you,
a good chance to shut up.
and if it makes you feel better, you may refer to me as Lady Ada. You seem to be a man of some formality.
Well, then,
The rest
Lady
of you,
Ada,
Ada,
please.
will do.
Well, then, Miss Lady Ada. I suppose it is nice to meet you.
Stacking honorifics. She turns to Beowulf. Thank you very much for coming. I understand it may not be quite as comfortable for you as some of the others.
I will make do. That's all.
I know you will. We're looking for people who are very good at making do. Thank you for coming. You're the one I thought the least likely to respond.
He stands behind the chair that is not taken by everybody else.
Yep. You stand behind it, you're not sitting in it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I find out so much about these characters, just a little scene. After the three of you are settled, she turns to you, Lady Mary. Well, don't just stand there, dear. Give me a bloody hug.
I didn't know if it was appropriate, Professor. I'm sorry.
It's always appropriate. Now get over here. And she approaches you and wraps you in a big motherly professorial combination hug.
Well, I suppose if I were one to care, I'd say that this is quite the plot thickening development.
Indeed.
Oh, she was one of my students.
We don't change yet. At least not yet.
And I wouldn't ask that you would. It's just that I thought it best up front if we told you right away. At least I didn't try and hide it and send her on the mission with you without telling you.
Well, that is mighty kind of you, Miss Lady Ada.
And she kind of double takes, like once on the miss and once on the lady, and looks at you all again and says, the request is actually quite straightforward. The British consul in Edo, Japan, has been murdered. The Japanese government is very reticent about helping us find those responsible. As such, I'd like you to go and find out what the hell happened and hold somebody's feet to the fire. For the Empire's sake, you know.
I mean, shouldn't you be sending the Scotland Yard for that?
I don't care who they send. I am more than willing to handle this. But with these three, are you sure?
To your answer, have you seen Scotland Yard? Can you imagine them bumbling around a foreign country? They can hardly hold themselves together at the end of the garden long enough for a parade to go by.
Right.
All hired by the traditional lords, I assure you. Or as the papers call them, the trad lords. Not like us, the rad lords. Radicals, of course. I love the papers. Shortening things to make headlines pop. So, you would be acting, as your paperwork said, on Her Majesty's Secret Service. For what it's worth, you will be official representatives of this government, although there are, to be fair, portions of this government that do not know that. But we'll be 3/4 of a world away. Or to be more fair, you be 3/4 of a world away.
Never pass up on a bounty. Sure, I'd be happy to help, my lady.
Oh, speaking of bounties, I thought yours might include some land just south of Scotland. A title?
Now, there's an offer I cannot pass up.
I thought so. And you? And she looks at Dan.
Right.
What would it take to get you to go on this mission?
Well, I'd appreciate if you cleaned my record and got me a tavern in London when I'm back.
The record is already done. Surprise. The tavern, I will have a number of them chosen for you to choose from when you return. Did you have... I'll get one of each. You can choose them when you get back. The bloody government, after all. What's the point if you can't pull some strings? Now you, and she looks at Everett, you interest me because I don't know how the hell you're going to answer this question, and I've been very, very good knowing how people will answer questions. Everett McCall, what do you want for doing this?
Well, I suppose what I really want is something you can give me. So I'm a fairly simple man. I just want a little place I can call my own by the time I'm done all this.
I'm thinking there's a very nice corner of Wales.
I don't need anything fancy, man.
Oh no, Wales isn't fancy. Thank you for
You just say
setting
that
me
again.
up. Thank you so much for setting me up.
Don't
As
put
good as-
yourself in too much trouble. I just need a small little place I can kick up my feet and call my own.
I'll do my best to get you one with a rifle range.
Yeah. Don't push yourself too hard, Miss Lady.
And you,
Miss lady.
I've got to try it. Miss Lady Talbot? Oh, it's good fun. The face you're right, she turns to Everett. The face they make is absolutely worth it.
I just believe in putting the honorifics where it's due, man.
Credit where credit is due. I appreciate that very much. Lady Talbot?
If I can come back and continue my work, then that's all I need.
You know we're having some difficulties with the analytic engine.
I have heard.
The replacement for Babbage's wonderful, original, hopelessly dated difference engine. I believe Project Manager is a title that springs to mind. Does that work for you, my dear?
Absolutely, Professor.
Well, then you'd best not die. With that, all taken care of. Don't worry, I'll make the notes later. And she picks up a form. In the name of Her Majesty's government, I hereby request that after preparations are made, you travel by steam clipper to Edo, Japan, where you will endeavor to discover who killed our consul and have them brought to justice by the local authorities. I will share with you all that I know, as she puts down the piece of paper, and you will have full access to the resources of the British Museum before you leave.
So this is clearly more a take him in alive than dead situation.
Ideally, we would like the Japanese government to find who did this and hang them by their fucking neck until they're dead. But failing that, you'll never hear me say it in public, failing that, we would at least like to know exactly who killed Arthur Richard Wellesley, the second Duke of Wellington. Historically, as I drop out of character briefly, that is the son of Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington, who beat Napoleon on the battlefield 50 years ago. The first Duke of Wellington is dead. He was a traditional lord, a trad lord. This is his son, who is the trad lords work like that. The title goes with the land, so the son is now the second Duke of Wellington. He was the British consul to Japan.
Right. So, just question, lady.
Please.
Ada. So we find out who did it, and
Yes.
if we can't have him hanged by the neck, you just want a known name.
Well, there are several other
Shall I-
options, but I don't want any of you getting caught doing anything illegal over there. It's not, to be fair, that I'm worried for any of you, but we don't want an international incident.
Oh, well, then just leave it to
Right.
me. I haven't been
I
caught
was-
yet, and I'm not quite exactly what you call a British citizen.
There are several of you who I'm very sure are very good at making people just go away and never be seen again. And were that to happen, there would be no complaints. All I will say is don't get caught. we can only protect you so much from 24,000 kilometers away. 14,000 miles for our American friends.
Sounds like
Miles.
a challenge. I
Because
accept.
you have to go the long way. Quick geography lesson here. You have to go all the way down the Atlantics, north and south, around the end of Africa, up across the Indian Ocean, through the Oceania, all of the archipelago, and then all the way up the east coast of Asia to get where you're going. Because there is no Suez Canal. There's also no Panama Canal.
Oh my goodness.
So, the other things I know is that I hesitate to call him incompetent, but he's dead and he can't hear me. That incompetent fool was there for 11 years out of the 13 that they've been open to the world. And in all of that time, he has provided no useful information regarding the Japanese other than the blatantly obvious. The Emperor Kome is fighting for his very survival and blames the travails on foreigners. You will, of course, once you arrive, be foreigners. So you know what you're walking into. The Japanese are definitely hiding something about this murder. There is no question that they will resist you at every step of the way. And once again, we need you to prevent an international incident because we can't help you. You will be sent, as I said before, as diplomats, so hopefully, we have no idea if it will, but hopefully that will afford you some legal protections. Here are those documents. She presents you, she puts on the table documents with machine-stippled images. This is a great time to talk about this. It's not a photograph as such. It's like a 16-bit printer, except it's like 96 bits. But it is a stipple print of your face made by pins on a computer, and you know it has been done by the difference engine, the steam-powered computer. It's not electrical. Instead of on and off switches, it has steam valves which physically are opened or closed. Other than that, it reads binary the same way, and it's programmed with a whole series of punch cards. But for now, yes. The museum has other information for you, but do you have any questions before you go?
When do we leave?
Now, if you wish. But here, take these as well. They'll get you into the museum. And she lays in front of each of you. I just gave you another handout called the 1866 Lady Ada card. That. You will see. What it says on it, this is the title that Charles Babbage gave her, and this he gave her in real life. Most of this story is real. He called her the Enchantress of Numbers and said that with 4 of them, he could replace 40 of his other workers, his other mathematicians. Her own title for herself is Lady Ada Lovelace. I've added the MP. She was never a member of Parliament. Poetical scientist, analyst, and metaphysician. She hands you these cards and says, these will get you into the museum. The savant will meet you there. Savant being the word in this term for scientist, specialist, that sort of thing.
Enchantress indeed.
If there's nothing else, I'll take your silence for assent. Then I do have a country to run, if you'll excuse me. Thank you.
I guess we best be on our way. Thank you, Miss Lady Ada. I hope
Right.
you have a wonderful rest of your time.
And she's already pulled out another book out from the shelves, and she's actually, from somewhere, she's writing notes into the book. She's obviously recording the meeting she's just had.
Bo just simply bows and starts to head for the door.
Absolutely.
Right.
Does
I'm
he
out.
The 4 of you leave, and you know where the museum is. It's north of here. On the map, I'm just going to move the Zephyr just to have us be able to do this. So as you head north, again, the guard takes you out the back way so that no one sees you. And you are led through the city up to the museum. At which point you are taken inside. And it is massive and ancient. But even in here, as you walk in, you can see there's footprints on the floor from the soot that's been tracked in behind you. And you look down and you're leaving them yourself. Even if you tap your feet, if you do or not, it doesn't help. London is filthy. No one's seen the sun in weeks. There's been no wind to blow the storm, to blow this smog away. As you get to the library, you're taken upstairs. You show the cards. You're taken upstairs and into a large office. Man sits behind a desk. He looks up at you and says, I am Savant Nathan Redrake. Please have seats. And there's 4 sort of uncomfortable-looking wooden chairs on the other side of a gigantic desk that he's sitting behind. It's covered in documents. But in a space in front of him, there's only 5.
Right, I'll just go take a look at what's got.
You look over at the table, and I mean the stuff in a circle appears to be just random. It's just stuff. It's just, this is a librarian's desk, so the last 20 projects there's bits and pieces of it left around. But this perfect rectangle in front of him with these 5 pieces of perfectly aligned paper, there appears to be mostly charts and reports. There doesn't appear to be
that's
anything.
happening.
It's all good. It's all charts and reports. And he looks at the 4 of you. Please have a seat. I'll explain all that I know. I understand a certain lady has requested that I give you your information. As you do. He says, I don't, to be honest, don't know was worth your trip. I hardly know anything. In fact, none of us hardly know anything about Japan. It's been 15 years. You'd think we'd know something by now. All but non-existent. Here's what we do know. Trade between us and the Japanese at this point has been almost exclusively luxury items in both directions. It's all they're allowing. And as such, it hasn't really afforded their economy or affected their economy or culture much at all, as far as we can understand.
I zoned out for a tick. What happened?
You're told that by this savant, this man who's done the research, there's almost no information. What he does know is that trade is almost exclusively luxury items going in both directions into and out of Japan. It's all that they will allow. And because of that, it hasn't affected their economy or their culture much at all. They're also loath to let foreigners anywhere but the ports and the approved markets. That's why we got terrible maps at best. The other thing, and this
Better than none.
And this, I think, is interesting. They have no steam tech that we know about. Nobody's reported any of it. Not a smokestack, not an airship, not even a steam cart, not even a steam engine. And they don't seem interested in importing it or the technology.
Hypothetically, supposing they have something better than we do.
It's quite possible.
Speaking of that, there's this, and there was an envelope that he now pulls out from amidst a pile of rubble and rubbish off to the side. He just pulls it out. You didn't see it before. And he undoes the lacing, and you see secret written across the flap. He pulls it out. I can't send this with you, but I have been instructed to let you read it. He holds it forward in sort of the general direction of the 4 of you.
I'd hand that to Miss Lady Mary Tablet. For one, I don't know about the rest of you, but I cannot read.
Only a little bit.
I can a little bit.
All right, then I'll read it.
Lady Talbot, it's handed to you. The front page is typed. The typewriter is a very recent invention, the last sort of 10 to 15 years as well. It says, translated from the Japanese, document certified authentic, stolen by disgruntled employee of the Japanese embassy here in London. It's signed Major General Jake William Winthorpe, Military Intelligence. So this is like a way up. This is a very secret way up secret. You flip to page 2 and it's the translation. It says, under no circumstances are outsiders to see or examine any of the bone and sinew collection.
Ooh,
You're going to have that back.
of course.
Do you tell your teammates what it says?
Yes.
Okay. So it is explained to the other 3 of you. Under no circumstances are outsiders to see or examine any of the bone and sinew collection. Savant Redrake says, I have no idea what that means. Out in the hallway. The sound of something falling and feet running down the hallway. Somebody was listening outside the door. What do you do?
I'm going after that.
I need that
I'm going
document.
after it
And
too.
he pulls it out of your hand, Lady Talbot, and stuffs it back in the document. Go, go, go.
I guess we're doing a chase. Good thing these boots are made for running.
You are, in fact, doing a chase. I get to do some more cool map stuff.
Cool.
First of all, move the party here. Bam. There we go. And before we do this, I'm going to show you. This is what your characters, how your characters are going to be able to see once this actually starts. But you guys know the neighborhood. So what I'm going to do for right now is show you what the neighborhood looks like and what's clearly happening here. So I'm just going to put you all on the museum here where you start. I assure you this slowness is me. Oh, look at that. People dragging themselves. Not this system. Okay, and we'll leave this effort over there. You guys know this area, right? You know where the British Museum is. You've all been in London long enough to know this region. It is bounded by 4 major roads. There is no way somebody running away from you is going to those. Running down one of those would attract way too much attention. This is 1866 London. There's cops everywhere. But there's a really obvious place where they probably are. Where if they get to, they're free as a bird. Because at the very top of this map, almost directly north of you, is King's Cross Station. And yes, it existed. This map is actually from London in 1662. So this is legit. So right up here at the top in the center. Oops. Move that map around too much. Let's put it there so we can see it. Yeah. So right up here, at the very top in the center, is King's Cross Station. You are all down here at the museum. And now that you know that, this is what you can actually see. So this is a really cool effect. The bright areas are what you can physically see. The area around that is what you essentially know to be there, but you can't see anything that's in it. Which is why
All right.
one more thing. Right up here. Right at that corner. You're standing as you burst out of the museum and look to the northeast. You see a small open area in front of you, and beyond that, the running footsteps and heels of somebody just disappearing around the corner and heading north on that road. There's no initiative in this system, and the way you can move in this particular encounter is you can move 1 block each turn. You're going to have to try and catch this person and cut them off before they get to King's Cross Station. Everett, you were ex-military and a very active past, so I think you would probably react first. So go ahead, and I'm pretty flexible with what constitutes a block, but yeah, drag yourself a block closer to the, or in whatever direction you want to go.
Would this be about a block?
That works for me. Absolutely perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Sort of, and you take advantage of the long blocks. Those are okay. I got no problem with that. But yes, this is perfect. So you just bolt down the steps and across the street. Now, I must mention, this is 1866 London. You have the only 6-shooter visible in all of London. And you have the only, we're still going to just refer to them as a 2-sword set on the other hip. You're probably one of 6 or 7 in cowboy boots and denim, but you just down the stairs and take off towards them.
Actually, Kevin, I can't see Everett's token.
Right,
from where you guys are, you may not be able to because he's hidden around the corner. So what? Who wants to go? Beowulf, let's have you go next. You come around the corner. Yeah, given your past, you would also react. You react instinctively to people running away. So yeah. Go ahead and drag yourself a block in whatever direction you'd like to go. You can go with Everett or without. You know my rules. Always split the
I
party.
don't know where he went anyway.
Oh, he went right up towards this direction.
Yeah, because
Ran
that's
around
what I
that
was.
corner.
Hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I was
this is
thinking
part of the
like-
is part of the fun. If you can't see him, you don't know where he went. So
Yeah, I'm thinking of, like he gets down here and then he runs across to over here.
perfect. Yeah. So you boom, 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 run up beside him. Can you still not see him on that map? You
No, I can't.
Okay.
Oh.
Hang on a second.
I can see
I think I know. Oh, you're visible.
Don't say that's a twitch, little gentleman.
You are visible. I've not made you invisible on here, have I? Hang on.
It appears that I'm just so good at my job that
You
I've
just-
become invisible.
You're supposed to be visible. Well, I'm not going to figure it out right now. I'll figure it out after.
I'm
As you
literally
run
just
around
one.
that corner, Beowulf, Everett is literally right there. You ran to the same spot.
Right next to each other.
So just ahead of you, you see this person just tearing around the corner, and the two of you are. Dan,
Is there-
you also. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Is there enough of him being seen that I could take a shot off?
You could. Firing a pistol in a busy 1866 London would, to say the very least, draw a large amount of attention. In fact, I'll go further. It would be illegal.
All right.
It's like you committed murder in the very first episode. The
I
chase
wasn't
scene, damn
gonna.
it.
Look, I'm not trying to shoot to kill. Just wing him a bit.
I get it. I
Slow him down.
Just being ridiculous. The two of you rushed there. Dan, you also respond well to violent situations. You're used to it. You see the two of them bolt off in that direction after the person who was listening in. What do you do?
Right, well, I think I'm going to let the young boys take the indirect route, and I'm going to take this little bit of a shortcut. And I'm going
Absolutely.
to come up along this way here. And I'm
Oh,
eventually going to
yeah.
end up there.
Just boom, 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 past everybody else. Yeah.
As I'm leaving, I just want to say, Lady Talbot, I don't know if you want to join in on this, but maybe more research might help.
I would be best in not giving chase.
I mean, just
Lady
think about
Talbot.
those petticoats.
That's kind of why I saved you for last. No, you're wearing trousers, right?
I'm wearing a suit. Thank
A suit,
you.
yes.
Well, I cannot say I was that attentive to what people were wearing.
Apparently not. Because the funny part is, it was specifically mentioned in the intros.
It was.
Lady Mary Talbot in a suit. What do you do? Standing at the top of the stairs of the British Museum as the three large burleys go tearing off into the city after the spy.
Are there taxis nearby?
Yes, there are. Absolutely. Yep. Steam powered taxi. This
to
is
get
the
in a
British
taxi.
Museum. There's a queue of them.
I'm going to get in a taxi and go to the King's Cross station.
I like this one.
Oh,
She
okay.
actually-
Happy dance done. You turn and down the stairs. There is a queue of steam taxis. Chip, if you haven't seen anything before, that's how this works. I say yes to just about everything. So yes, down the stairs onto the deck, and there is literally a queue of taxis waiting there. It looks down at you. In fact, jumps down, pulls open the flap. Where to, miss?
King's Cross station, please.
You're not a lady, are you, miss? I mean, like a lady with a big L, not like a lady like you're like you know what I mean, miss? Lady?
Family Talbot, I am.
Right then. On me, miss. Miss Lady Miss.
Thanh you.
And it
Very much.
starts
We
you
have
into the
started a
thing.
trend.
Yeah, I could not miss. So you jump into and the steam billows, the smoke pours out the sides, the smoke pours the insides, and you start to head steaming north. I'm going to move you because they're driving. So steam gurneys move good and well in straight lines. So you up that road, heading towards to a major road where they will turn to the right and try and cut this person off. Yes. Back around. Let's do them in a slightly different order this time. Beowulf, you saw the corner they went around. Where do you go? Go ahead and take a longer space in here. There's, they're pretty big blocks. So.
I'm taking a look-see.
Yep. Based on what you can see, you saw them disappear in this basic region here. If anybody does need to ping, it's just a double click.
He's actually just going to run right here.
Just turn left and head for that main road. Absolutely. Love it. Which brings us to Everett. Your wingman just peeled off and headed up the road sideways. Where are you going?
I think from where I am, I'm gonna try to move to about. No, is it blocking me off by how far I can go? There, it might be to
Nope,
about.
if you can't go, it's because there's a line, a dynamic lighting line there.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
I think I see the
You
edge
do.
of him.
And the really annoying part is that I think I can fix this. Nope, I still can't see it. Never mind. I'll figure it out later. I love this because the three of them in the real world could see each other right in the real world. Our fantasy world could see each other right now. They all bolted down different roads. The two of them burst out into the street, look at each other like, yeah, we got this. The two of you look past each other and a block further. Meep, meep. The steam gurney goes by with this behemoth with lady in the back. I was going to say I thought Beowulf was in it, but yes. So the three of you are heading in that direction. You get to there, Everett. You can see the spy running up the street ahead of you.
So let me ask a quick question of how busy and how populated is this area right here?
This particular area, you are now right beside the Founders Hospital. So between you and the spy, there are people in those old Victorian wheelchairs being pushed around by nurses. There are doctors outside smoking and doing opium and talking about what the surgeries they're going to do this afternoon.
All right. I'm going to pull a knife out from my boots.
Yep.
Kind of flip it in my hand just a little bit.
Yep.
And look to judge the distance. There ain't no winds to dissuade my
Not
knife.
a chance. Nope.
So all I need to do is distance and work that out.
That
See if
would
I
be
can hit him right. See if I can hit him right in the leg.
Aiming for a non-lethal attack. Absolutely. Roll for me. Our very first roll of the night. A grace roll as you try and attack him, and I get to roll a defense.
Is it a verse target of 6?
All attacks and defenses are versus 6.
Ooh.
Ah,
You miss. Okay, so
I got damn close with a 5.
you guys can't see his roll, right?
No,
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
I can.
I see a 0.
Oh, if you
Oh,
hover
but you
over
can
the
see
0,
that it's
you can see
underneath
how
camera
many.
because I see says visible to you and one other player. But okay, this is my issue, not the system's issue. This is me having. I think I know what's going on though, but again, I'm not going to stop this to fix it at the moment. Anyway, you throw the knife. It misses dramatically. What did you? It was a 2. Okay, it misses.
I rolled a 5, 2, and a 1.
Yes, you did. Right. So, yes, you whip this knife and it through the air, and that's a distance where Anyway, it misses him, but sticks into one of the trees in the yard of the hospital, right here, like fwang, and then an old geezer in a chair and a nurse walk by the other side of that tree. It was close to being disastrous, but your knife is now stuck in that tree.
If a
Did
man
anybody
only
notice?
ever travels with one boot knife, I don't think that's a very smart decision.
A couple of people you hear like, "Holy my goodness! Oh dear, bloody bugger!" That's the one you hear. Bloody bugger. That's the one I've been waiting to find to drop. Yes, you hear a couple of that. That maniac's throwing knives. Dan, yes.
Just want to clarify the green spots. They're park area, correct?
This is open. Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be taking this kitty corner then,
Yep.
and I'm gonna be going into some back alleys to try and make sure that when Lady makes it to the station, there she's got some reinforcement.
Absolutely.
And so I'm gonna come up to right here with this nice little. Oh my gosh, moving is hard, eh?
The roads are really narrow, and if you zoom in, it should be easier.
Oh, thank you.
I've left it
I'm
zoomed
gonna
out so
come
that people can
right
see
up to
where
that
you
little
started. But yeah,
back alley there. As
Perfect,
I'm running
yeah.
by, Beowulf, take a ride. If you'd be so kind, I got this.
and you find
Remember,
yourself.
telling him to go this way.
You find
Yeah.
yourself almost to the main road, and you know
Yes,
all you
I
have to
do.
do is turn right. So Beowulf.
Yes, I
Honestly,
do.
he was going to go that way anyway. So
Perfect. Yeah. So go ahead and move a block or a little more. You guys are almost there.
Communication is key. Just saying.
Yep. You guys are running through downtown London,
Gonna
screaming
run
instructions at each
down
other.
to here.
Okay, so you come tearing across that road. As you come around the corner out into that slightly open area to your right, you see Everett having just thrown a knife. He's just down here-ish.
Yeah, and I can see a little bit right here.
Yeah.
Of the word spy.
Yes, you can. In fact, the spy is invisible to you too. Oh, in fact,
It's
I
because
just
it's
looked.
mostly
Yeah.
no
And
visible.
like I said, I can see the word, and I saw her before she made the turn.
Well,
But
I'm gonna let me do this, Beowulf. You run around the corner, and I'm just gonna put you here so you can see it.
mhm.
You come out of that alley and right into this spy, chest first. They bounce off and try and run away. What do you do?
I'm gonna grab them.
Give me a power or grace. You tell me. Are you trying to just bear hug them, or are you trying to kick flip their legs out from under them? What are you doing?
I'm trying to bear hug to prevent them from moving.
Absolutely. So try and drag him to the ground. Give me a power roll then. Versus, make it against 6s. We'll call it an attack.
2 and a 1.
You try and grab them. He reaches up and grabs one of your fingers and just folds it back. And you get, and that's enough for them to roll away and start to run. You did not successfully grab them. Lady Talbot. Meep, meep. the gurney keeps going, and it's going quick. I want to get you into this. So it gets around the corner, and the guy's just like it's skidding around the corner. Like, look out, we're on royal business. Beep, 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 beep. And they're just honking and bleating down the road. You get to there. You can see in the distance King's Cross Station coming up the road. I think that brings us all the way back around to Everett.
Well, if I can see where the spy is, and
Oh, yeah,
the
you can
spy
get to
has
him
not
now,
since
so-
moved,
No,
I will
because he got knocked down. I didn't give him a move.
walk over. I shall run over to the spy, pull out my 6-shooter, point it straight at him, and just go. This would be a terrible time for you to move.
Give up.
Smart
Just like-
decision.
Not worth £2. Not worth £2. Don't shoot me, dude. Don't, please.
You
Please
got
don't.
You got paid £2 for this.
I'm not gonna now.
How about I give you 3 and you tell me who asked you to do this? I'm still holding him at gunpoint the entire
Oh
time.
yeah, he's still laying on the ground. He's thinking about it.
£4?
It's just my guy. Like, it's not. I'll take the £4, but to be fair, it's not worth it. It's just my guy. The guy I get all my
What would-
jobs from.
Yeah. And where would I, if I were to be so inclined, find this fella?
He's one of those you don't find him, he finds you kind of people.
I'm afraid that's not quite worth the £4, is it?
I'll take none, to be fair. Just don't shoot me. I go away empty-handed. I was supposed to find out what you guys were looking at. I didn't see shit. You guys were all so quiet in that room. You're useless. Should have brought a glass. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to move.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. Hey, Beowulf, you have any rope on you? I seem to have plumb done left mine at home.
I think because of his background,
Yep.
he should actually have a pair of handcuffs.
Manacles. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I just meant, do you
yes.
have like 2 sets so that we can kind of hog tie him? Put him back so that we tie his feet to his hands.
As you are putting the first set of manacles on, a police officer shows up and walks up. All right, then what's going on here then?
Caught ourselves a spy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough, Beowulf. Aha, we are here on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and that is a bit of a need-to-know basis. So if you do tell anyone, that's not very good for you or I. So let's be clear. So let's be nice, see each other on our way, and just say goodbye to everything.
He looks at you and he opens his mouth like he's going to say something, and then sort of he obviously sees something out of his peripheral, and he turns and looks, and the naval police are coming, a group of about half a dozen of them. And he looks for one split second. And by this point, Lady and Dan, you guys have arrived. Just narratively, you figured out where this was happening. Unless you had other plans. The two of you arrive at the station. There's nobody there, so you kind of double track back, and this is when you kind of arrive there.
Right.
So, with that, the naval security comes up and says, the cop looks at you and says, well, it's out of my pay grade then, I'm out. And he just turns around and walks away. Naval and
Right knowing you.
Always trust the cop.
We'll,
It's quitting time.
we'll take care of this slot then. And they start to scoop him up. We'll find out everything he needs to know by the morning. I believe Lady Ada will probably want another word, though, after this.
Oh,
The fact
What
that
a
this person knows, like this, it's a lieutenant, right? It's the person running this group. The fact that they know is you guys were being watched.
subtlety ain't much of a specialty for you boys, ain't it? Oh, wrong accent. Sorry.
It's okay. It's
I
the first
believe-
episode. Accents are flexible.
Well, I do believe that there is a time for subtlety and a time for getting the job done. And this was simply a time for getting the job done.
You need it. Well, let's go talk to the lady.
Yeah.
A carriage awaits. The four of you get in the steam gurney and go back to the British Museum. And sorry, all the way back to the Houses of Parliament, in through the back doors again, and back up to Lady Ada's room. She says, as you're taken in, she looks slightly upset. I was not expecting that, but we will look into it. And we will find out everything they know. However, it does rather push our timetable forward.
I thought we were supposed to be leaving now anyways.
There was going to be several days allowed for your preparations. However, I think it best if we move that along a pace.
I agree.
Captain
Everything I
Chandaha.
own is still in a satchel somewhere, so I'm pretty sure I'm good and ready.
Captain Chandaha will be waiting for you at the Royal Docks in the steam cutter. I think it best if you leave on the next tide. I think that's just before dawn.
Right then.
Shall we then?
I finally had a chance to look over at chat. You guys are amazing. Look at that. There's a tremendous amount of it going on. I haven't had a chance to read any of it. Thank you so much. You guys gather yourselves and head out. Back onto the Zephyr for the last time. Back to the docks, all the way through the city. You realize possibly for the last time in a very long time. Those numbers keep ringing through your skull. 14,000 miles. 24,000 kilometers. Even in a steam-powered boat, that's going to take a very long time. As you get back to the Royal Docks, you're run out in a dinghy to a truly stunning boat, which I'm bringing you to right now. I think all of you can see it until I do this. A second, let me fix this. Now I'll be able to see it now. If it looks familiar to some of you, it should. That's the blue nose. In the real world. Hence the Canadian flag at the top at the back. Imagine this with 3 short stacks amidships on the deck. And that is the HMSS, Her Majesty's steamship, the steam cutter. Standing, waiting for you to board, is the captain, whose handout I have just given you. Handout I will go to now. He stands in the full regalia of the Royal Navy and gestures onto his ship. I understand we're leaving rather quickly. Please, aboard. We're leaving now, actually. We don't have to wait for the tide. We're a steamship after all.
What? Captain.
Onto the
That's good
ship
then.
and out. Down the Thames. Quite possibly the last time. What an adventure awaits you. As you leave the Thames and head into the English Channel, that smog stays behind. For the first time in months, you see the sun. It's not a bright, sunny day. There's some clouds, but it's a hell of a lot better than what it looked like inside. It's a hell of a lot nicer out here. In fact, it's quite bright. And the boat continues on out into the English Channel. Behind you, you see the captain turn back and say, "Damn it, I thought they were getting ready." You turn and look behind you, and coming out of the harbor is another ship. You've seen it, perhaps, before there. It's quite the story. It's the Prince Hendrik der Nederlander. And it is gunboat. One of the very first gunboats, and yes, it rolled out of the docks the summer of 1866, so this is actually legitimate. Those are 2 turrets, each of which have 2 guns in, and there are walls that pop up as armored ships. This ship is essentially one of the ironclad class. It is steam-powered. It has the 3 masts. The captain looks at you and says it's nowhere near as fast as us. But it's not going to the Netherlands. And you watch as it starts to turn towards you. It's following us. Full steam. And it starts giving orders, and the sails start getting put up, and all of a sudden this boat leans and starts to move. You feel the power of steam and sail working together. You smash through out of the channel and into the southern part of the North Atlantic. It is still the North Atlantic, though. And ahead of you on the horizon, you see black storm clouds. The captain is heading directly towards them. You hear a brief conversation, then a more heated conversation, and the captain takes his crew around the corner and has a conversation out of sight of you. You get the impression it's a borderline mutiny going on, and yet this ship just keeps pounding towards this storm. Anything
I
any
think
of
I
you would
want to
like?
find my room now.
One of the ensigns says, yes, I can show you to your rooms at any point. They're just down here. You've been given the officers' quarters.
Okay.
Sounds neat.
Is there a place where a gent can get a drink around here?
I did say officers' quarters, didn't I? Sorry, I didn't want to be rude, sir, but a bit of a joke, sir. There'll be plenty of liquor, sir. Some fine
Right.
rum. I believe it's Jamaican, sir.
Right, but with people.
Oh, yes, sir. You'll find the cabins quite large, yes. I think. Here they are. He
Think
starts
if anybody
popping
else
doors
wants-
open. Sorry?
Besides us and the crew.
There is no
Right.
one on this ship other than you and the crew. And it is a small crew. Those of you that know anything about sailing, to some extent, probably most of you would. This is a skeleton crew. There are no weapons on this ship at all. This ship is designed to go real fast. This is what replaced the Cutty Sark company. These fast tea traders, the ones that were designed, they were used once a year because the first load of tea that comes back from the east gets the most money on the market. So they built these boats. They could hardly carry anything. Only a couple of 100 tons compared to 1,000 tons or more. They were built to be extremely quick. And this one has been co-opted by the British government for this mission. This is all explained to you by the ensign. Your rooms are large enough. There are tables inside. These are designed to be able to plan in and have meetings in. So all 4 of you could easily fit in one room. As you put your belongings in each of the rooms given to you, you can feel the boat starting to into bigger and bigger waves. not so happy, Beowulf.
He's traveled by boat. He just doesn't like it that much,
Sure.
especially when there's a storm outside. That's why he's like, I want to head to my room now. So basically, he's
Absolutely.
going to do his best to put his stuff away and then just lay down on his bed.
Okay. Which brings us to, as you separate, where are the other 3 going? Let's do that. I want to know where everybody is at this point. So Beowulf heads to their own room to go to bed. Dan.
Right. Either you two care for a drink?
I might be able to sit out for a nightcap.
Lady Mary.
This seems to be as bad as it seems to be. It might be better to be together than apart.
Right. I will go pour a few drinks for us then.
The 3 of you step in the room and sit down, and just as you start to pour into those heavy bottom glasses that they use on ships to keep them from sliding around too much, The door, there's a rapid knock at a door. This is a toughened knuckle of a multiple-year ensign who is used to waking up officers from a deep sleep. Just bang, bang, bang. Are you requested on? And a huge wave hits the ship. You hear screaming, yelling, the cracking of wood. At least one mast has given way. The storm hits like a hammer. Your assistance is required, or at least expected on the deck if you've got a moment. This ensign's voice is cracking from the terror.
Well, I don't know about you two. I'm going to slam my drink, and I'm going to head my boaty up there.
Everett and the lady? Sounds like a Disney movie.
Look, I was ground support. I was a ground troop. I was not in the Navy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much help I'll be, but I'll be there.
You head up as well. Lady Mary, what do you do?
She's torn. She knows like this is a dire circumstance, but at the same time, she knows she's not gonna be of any help.
As you sort of step out of your room and look around, one of the ensigns looks at you, and he's got a bucket in each hand. If you see water, throw it out the porthole.
That I can do.
Okay. Beowulf, a couple seconds later, bang, bang, bang on your door. Some help if you could, sir.
Help with what?
The storm's hit, sir. There's some damage. We could use some help fixing things up on the deck, sir. Skeleton crew and all.
Fine.
Open the door and kind of stumble up the stairs onto the deck.
Yeah, he doesn't look too pleased, but he gets up there anyway.
The three of you who head up onto the deck burst up through the floor level and look around, and the first thing you see is that the foremast is down. Because of that, the rigging and the sails are in the water. There's a group of sailors trying and failing to pull in that rigging. So that's certainly one place they could help. There's another group in the middle of the ship on the center mast who are just trying to get the rigging down before this one goes. And there's another group doing that on the rear mast. There's also two of them up on the poop deck trying to help the captain steer the wheel. All of those are options. So we have Lady downstairs bailing, Lady Mary. Let's do Dan. Where are you going?
Oh, I had a
What?
plan.
I'm going to go save some of our rigging there, and I'm going to go help those sailors haul that in there.
To the front, to the rigging. Okay. Front rigging. All right. Everett, you had a plan. You always have a plan. I can always go to you.
All right, I hope you don't mind me taking over a bit. And I look to the ensigns as I say this. So, and I immediately kind of soldier takes over.
Yep.
And I'm giving orders to you and you. Pull in that rigging. Make sure that it doesn't go out. You go and climb up the rear mast. Make sure that we can get that rigging down. Down. Beowulf, help with the captain.
Perfect.
Captain, I'll go run up the second rigging myself.
And you take off to do that.
All
Yep.
right, go.
I love it. Beowulf, what are you doing?
He's gonna give Everett this. You're ordering me around. This is BS.
Yeah.
Kind of look.
Yep.
Just like storm off up to the front and try and grab a hold of the steering contraption.
Oh, help
to
steer. Okay.
Help stabilize it.
Perfect.
He's gonna help anyway, but he's just kind of mad at Everett.
Absolutely. So
I did
He's
not
mad
give you
in
the
general, but yeah.
I did not give you the option. Beowulf. I said do it.
and they just keep doing what they were doing anyway.
I'd like to turn to the sailors as we're hauling in and just say, boys, if we get this in, round of rum on me.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start with the two on the front rigging. So Dan, you started that. You promised them rum, and they lean into it and start to pull. Give me your choice. You tell me either grace or power as you try and get this rigging back on deck. But you have to justify it to me.
Well, I mean, I'm best at punching and pushing things, so I'm just gonna reef on it and hope the sailors know the technique.
Absolutely. So give me power versus a 4, please. Oh, you
that's
heave, and
two
the sailors heave with you. 2 1s. Yeah, that is poor. Thank you for getting those out of the way. As you pull, the rope that you pull on gives and snaps, and you fall on your ass and start to slide across the deck.
Right. Does my suit rip?
Your suit does not rip, but you are saved by a sailor who kind of grabs you by the collar. So it might just rip unless you get to your feet fairly quickly.
Of course, I'm getting back up.
That was your first try. Also on the front rigging, Everett. You were up there as well, right? Oh no, you were yelling orders, right?
I yelled orders, and I was going to climb up the.
Okay, in that case,
second
give me
rigging.
the yelling orders. Give me an intuition roll as you try and tie into these sailors' sense of duty, or something else if you can convince me otherwise.
I cannot convince otherwise. My intuition. I'm trying to get into the intuition of each and every single man on board this ship and get them to get it done properly and quickly so that we
versus a 4.
can survive this storm.
No.
Nope.
Your speaking and yelling does not work, but you also said you were going to pull, so you kind of make up for
Yeah.
You don't succeed. You're still not made forward space, and your speech didn't seem to help much, but at least you haven't fallen behind.
Yeah.
Also
There's
on the
second rigging, right?
Yeah, there's another rigging.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. This is
Okay.
basically my version of a skills challenge. So we're just gonna go around and around and around until somebody. You have to all mechanically. You have to all make a 4, and then you all have to make a 5, and then you all have to make a 6 to get us through this storm. That's how mechanically it's going to work. So back into the game. Beowulf, you were helping steer, so you run up onto the back deck, and the captain and the 2 ensigns are being pulled back and forth by the wheel. I'm assuming this is a power roll?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You just grab hold and lean into it to give me a power versus 4. Ooh, 2 successes. Yeah. Your arms kind of go around the 2 ensigns, and you just grab the 3 of the 2 of them and just get heavy. You absolutely, in fact, you succeed twice. So, was either one of those a 5? They were a 5 and a 6. I'm absolutely going to stack that. So you made the 4 and the 5. So the ship was just starting to slew, and it was going to get hit by the next wave. And you not only straightened it out, you then spun it forward and are now back into the main wave. And I mean, it hits like a hammer, but at least it was straight and you didn't roll over. So the ship is now stable enough. The captain and the 2, they've more or less got this under control. They're going to need help one more time, because as soon as you go, and you kind of let go for a second, it starts to get worse again, and you realize you're not quite done here.
Mm-hmm.
Below decks, you're kind of looking around going, I wonder what we're going to, and 3 portholes just shatter. The water starts to flow in. What do you do?
I'm gonna try and find a way to patch them up.
Or you're going to try and fix it? Okay. Reason? Yeah, give me a reason check.
Reason target 4?
Yes, target 4. Thank you. 2 successes. Another 5 and another 6. You look at them and you realize that all that's actually happened is the portholes have kind of popped open. Their hinges have popped. And you can see that there's actually mounted on the wall beside each one, there's a metal bar. Somebody just didn't have time to put them in place. And so as the ship rocks the other way, you run over and slam these 3 metal bars down. You have succeeded in sealing off this part of the ship, but you realize that the portholes along the whole side of this ship are also going to have done the same thing. So you're going to now have to run from room to room to fix that. But you are 2 successes in. Back up on the deck, the rigging is starting to pull the ship. It's starting to rotate it bad, turn it sideways into this next oncoming wave. 2 of you at the front. What are you doing? Let's start with... Who did we start with last time? Started with Dan last time. Okay, let's do that. Let's keep the same order. Dan, what are you doing?
Right. Well, I'm going to get right back up. And if Beowulf has steadied this here ship a bit,
Yep.
And can we use some of that momentum to try and just like make it easier for those lads to pull it in?
Absolutely. Yep. You can roll. You can roll one extra die, and how you do that, I will show you in Astral. But go ahead and give me. You were using power before, right? Just trying to pull this in. So give me
Yes,
your
sir.
regular power roll,
Right.
and then at the bottom of the chat window, you'll see a row of dice. If you just click the 6, and it will roll it one time, and it's a 5, so it's a success. So with the advantage given to you by the current situation with the boat sort of lining back up, you do manage to haul in some of the rigging and sails. So it's not as bad as it was, but it is a long way from fixed.
Ooh, this is hour for this old man.
And I mean, the rain is pouring down, lightning is flashing, revealing the scene in split-second increments. Everett, what are you doing?
I'm climbing up one of the masts to close it up to make sure that it doesn't fall into the sea as well.
Okay, Grace, I would call that, wouldn't you?
So that's what I'm doing because
Yep.
I'm climbing up as quickly and as precisely as I can.
Graceful as, all the way up there for me, if you wouldn't mind.
It's just still against
Against
a 4.
4s, yeah, because you're still shooting against 4s.
2 successes,
Successes.
2 5s,
2 5s, okay. You
1 and 1 3.
you go ripping up the rigging, and it kind of, you get to the break point where it's shattered, and or no, you were going to one of the rear riggings, right, where they were trying to, yeah. You just run up the rigging, and rather than trying to lash it or anything else, you just reach out with your with one of your weapons and just start cutting rope. The sails are falling and dropping. Some of them are going in the ocean, and some of them are dropping on the deck. But you are stopping them from tearing this mast off. So you absolutely succeeded twice there. So you cut, and you climb to the second one and cut. There's only the top gallant left. And up there, I mean, the ship's just doing this. All right, you're just, the further up you go, the more it swings.
Thank God I put on my climbing spurs.
Beowulf. Oh, Beowulf. You just as you're thinking you've got this, the sudden pressure of all that sail coming out of the water at the front has caused the boat to spin the other way, and it is almost completely sideways. I need a 6. A power versus 6. Two
2
5s. Oh, you offset the worst of it, but you are still sitting sort of 45 degrees on when this next wave hits. And it's not good. The front of the boat comes up and starts to twist. And you can feel it starting to roll and starting to roll and starting to roll, and you and the captain lean into it and pull it back, and you kind of break the top and start to surf down the back of this wave. You have survived this one, but you are now full broadside to the next one.
Oh, jeez.
Downstairs, you run into the next room, only to time it perfectly bad for that next wave, and through those open portals, Lady Mary, I need a power test, just power or grace to stay on your feet before you get to do anything. That's a 2. You run inside, the water hits you and slams you back against the door. Just as you're about to fall down, one of the sailors reaches over and grabs you and stands you up and leans you against the frame and says, "Hold on, for God's sakes, hold on."
I think she's probably just in shock at the moment, being like, I wasn't supposed to do this anyway.
And the water gushes through the holes again. I want to give you one more roll. What are you going to do? You know what? You know how to stop this.
Yeah, I have to close the window.
Yep. Give me another grace roll versus 6s if you want to try and do it, unless you can come up with a different way to do it.
Am I in like in a bedroom?
Yep, like little yeah.
Is there any way that I can kind of use a sheet and just hold it against it for a moment?
You may have an extra. That's an idea. Absolutely, you may have an extra die.
Okay, so still grace, right?
Yeah, grace, and then you down at the bottom of chat, just click that D6, and you're looking for 6s. And there,
Mm,
and a 2. So no, I am afraid you grab the sheet and you run over to the window and it just washed out of your hands. So now the ship is starting to go down at the bows. Things are not looking good aboard the old steam cutter. Back up on deck. Let's start with Beowulf this time. This is it. I mean, if you don't get this boat straight, this whole thing can come to an end before you're ever out of sight of southern England. What do you do?
All right. Well, Beowulf is at the edge of his quote unquote sanity.
Yep.
In his mind, he has now turned into a werewolf. Although to everybody else, he still looks regular.
Yep.
So he's going to draw upon that extra power he believes he has to try and get this thing to straighten out and work right.
Nobody can see it because it's a hissing down storm, but there's saliva and grinding teeth
And like snarling. They can't hear it either because of the water and the rain and the wind.
Give me power twice, because belief is a very powerful thing.
Power 6 twice.
Power against 6s twice. Ooh. No pressure.
Come on, really?
A 5, a 4, a 1, and a 2.
You remember suddenly the terrible words that Everett said. Forced encouragement that just make you even angrier.
You pull with all your might, Beowulf, but it's not enough. But just, and I mean just, before the wave hits the ship, Captain Chandahar grabs around your neck and shoulders, says, "Hold on," and heaves back with everything he's got. And the ship spins around and faces into the incoming wave. That wave hits, comes over the bow, washes the length of the ship, and over you, Beowulf. And over all of you, except for Everett, who's way up in the air. And Beowulf, when that ship,
Look who's slightly drier.
when that wave washes off the back of the ship, there's no one with their arms around you. Captain Chandahar is gone.
Damn.
The ship is straight. He sacrificed his life to give you a sense. At the front of the boat, Mr. Man.
Right. Well, we got that mast in, and these sailor boys know what's best. I'd like to take a quick look around and see where we might be weakest. Like what's needing the help. Make sure that those 2 lads that were helping me get to where they're the most knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
And then see where I can put some brute strength in there to help out.
Absolutely.
That would be
So
most
you
effective.
leave them at the front. You come to the back to this middle mast, the one that Everett isn't on, the one where they're
Right.
putting the sails away properly, and they're
Yes.
lashing them to the mast, and you're going to help them with them. So give me, you said use your brute force, so give me a power versus 5s, please.
Right.
You start
I'll need
climbing the
someone else.
mast to help them, and it starts to do the woo, 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 woo. You now understand what some of those drunks feel like. There it is. There it is.
All right.
yes.
You get up to the first one and reach out, and not to be outdone by some damn sailor, your huge broad shoulders stretching the suit, you tie off this sail and pull it tight enough so that at least this one is now reefed and is not flapping in the wind.
Well,
Look
you can't
up,
teach an
though.
old dog new tricks.
And you look up, old dog. I realize there's one more.
Oh boy. Blimey.
Behind you, and one higher. Everett, you get up to the very last top gallant sail on this mast. What are you doing?
There's a moment where Everett Everett kind of hears the voice of the person that taught him how to use the sword to begin with, and he's remembering to calm as much as possible.
Yes.
So he exhales, and a feeling of overwhelming serenity washes over Everett as he puts his sword back into its sheath, and then in one swift motion takes it out of the sheath and attempts to cut the
art of Iado, drawing and striking in one motion.
Yes.
I need I'm assuming that's going to be Grace.
It's going to be Grace.
Versus 6s, and you get 1 extra die for the inspiration. Absolutely. Ooh. Where's that 6?
No.
Right there.
Yeah, I got a 5, 4, 4, and a 5.
You... But you've never practiced on a moving ship. And you have to kind of grab with your hand. You have nicked the rope, and it is now like just doing this in the wind. It's going to break in a minute, but you don't know if you've got a minute. This is one of those moments, Everett.
Everett's going to sigh, put the sword back, and just pull out his gun.
Not what I was expecting. Give me an attack. Give me a Grace versus 6s. Nope. Blam. It does not work. You fire a round off into the darkness. You feel between your knees, the oak, that ancient British oak, starts to crack.
Well, it's been a nice ride.
You're going to be in the ocean in moments. What do you do?
How well is the sail still up?
Are you asking me if you can
put a knife through it and then drag
it? Yes, you bloody can. Peter Pan, there's the word I'm looking for. Yes, you pull out your wakizashi and drive it through the sail and grab it with both hands and lean. And give me a Grace roll. Target 6s. There it is.
Success. Finally.
Down the sail, you realize as you get to the bottom of the sail, that's the top gallant. There's still 2 to go before you get to the ground. You start to drop. You grab a rope off of the second cross beam, and it almost dislocates your shoulders, and you have to let go again. You hit the third crossbar on your ass. Just, you stop vertical motion for a moment, and in the middle of the storm, the world freezes because it's just, and you can't do anything to prevent yourself from falling forward, face first onto the deck. The only reason you're alive is that as you fall, the ship comes off of a wave. And you land, and it comes back up and almost throws you over the side. And the sailor goes, nope, not on my watch, and slams you back to the ground.
At this point, I'm unconscious.
You are out, unconscious.
Oh, ma'am, I will take my cows to go on Sunday.
Dan, you still have 1 sail with this sailor helping you to get down. What do you do?
Can I take a quick moment to see what the sailor's about to do?
Absolutely. He is there's the spar, and then there's these loops that go like this that you walk out on. And he's heading out onto those. As he goes out about 2 meters, he grabs the sail, pulls it up to the mast, hand over hand, and then lashes it to that spar. And he's just working his way out as he does so.
Right, and so the sail on the other side needs to do the same thing.
Exactly. And as he's doing it, the side that isn't being done is starting to billow in the wind, so it's starting to twist the ship again.
Well, I'm going to have to be grabbing that, and I'm going to try my best to do that lashing. I mean, I've tied up enough boys.
Try not to look down. Try not to look up. You're in the middle of a raging storm in the North Atlantic. This ship is going to sink in a second if this doesn't work. The sailor
Alright.
is helping you, so you're getting 1 extra die.
Oh, bless. It's
Power
all about
or
the
grace,
crew.
your choice.
Oh, I'm tired. We're gonna be using some grace. What am I against today?
This is 6s. This is your final attempt to succeed. Not there. 1 extra die.
Oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, you get out there and you pull up the first thing and you go to throw the rope around it and you kind of come unglued from the mast and start to fall, and you are now hanging from that foot rope, and you look
Right.
down and you shouldn't have, because it's a long way down to that deck. And that's not the bad part, because when it's not a long way down to the deck, it's a long way down to that water.
Which
And
way am I
then the
swinging
deck.
right?
And then the
Which
water.
way is the
yeah.
boat leaning right now?
The whole boat is, overall, it's going to port. It's tilting to its port side.
Right. Am I on the port or the starboard right now?
Right at the moment, which would you prefer to be on? That's how this works.
If we're going port way, I'd rather be on the starboard side.
So
of
yeah,
the
you're
mast.
on the high side as it's starting to tip over, yeah?
Fantastic. I want to try and bear hug that mast as I'm swinging towards it, and we're leaning that way, and
Yeah.
just go in and just hug it.
Absolutely. Give me a power check. I still need 6s.
Oh,
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wrap your arm around the mast. The sailor looks at you and kind of goes, and comes over and reaches, he looks at you and says, hold on. And he reaches up and cuts this big, thick rope. Because your side wasn't tied down, that spar is starting to really twist. He cuts the
Right.
entire spar loose. And it swings out and over and away from you and splashes into the ocean behind you. But as it does, all that extra weight's gone, and you kind of, like, have you ever seen those tree topping videos where you cut off and then flap around for a while? You kind of do that. And you skid to a stop. Hanging there, the sailor with one arm around you.
what do you want, bud?
And he looks at you and he says, that weren't even a bad one. Let's go then. You promised us a drink, I think.
I did.
You guys make your way down. Everett, you come to with a face full of seawater. Bucket full
Never
of seawater in the
squat
face.
with your spurs on.
How about a drink, sir?
I'll have 12.
Very good, sir. The regular, chef. And they start the Lady Mary downstairs. You are still in some discomfort. You have been slapped around in this room, but the sailor has run over and slammed that window shut, and he's putting the bars in place. So the worst of it is over. You do have a moment sort of to yourself underneath decks on this ship. Is there anything you'd like to do?
She really wants to get to her room,
Yeah.
since her change of clothes are there.
Oh, yeah.
And she wants to get out of the totally wet, ruined suit now.
Absolutely. So you just turn and make your way back to your room. The other 3 of you, you see now that essentially all 3 masts are bare of sail. The captain being gone, the first mate has taken over, and they've stopped trying to make progress into this storm. They're just doing the safe thing, which is point into it and ride it out. There's some discussion amongst the crew about the missing captain. But this is a military vessel, and the order of the chain of command is there for a reason. The first mate is now running things. They give orders like they've been doing it forever. And as you pick up your bruised and battered selves, and the storm blows itself out with the dawn, once again you see blue skies. An almost infinite ocean. As the storm blows away, it's just pale blue in every direction. No land, no birds, no other ships, nothing. It already feels like you're a long, long ways from London.
Well, I'd like to go figure out that first mate's name.
I'm gonna go bandage myself and a few other people up. I wasn't quite the medic, but I wasn't quite not the medic.
And mechanically speaking, in this
just gonna
game,
go
everyone
back.
can heal. So
Yeah, Bo's just gonna go down to his room.
go back
And-
to your room. Yeah, Lady
Go back to
Mary.
the room, just stay put. Tend to whatever problems he may have, and then probably just knock out. Because when he gets into that mindset, it mentally and physically drains him.
Thrashed, absolutely thrashed. Yeah.
He's tired, and he just, as soon as his head hits the pillow, he's out like a light.
Lady Talbot, you get changed and into your clean, dry stuff. The windows are all closed. The storm has risen out. Who stayed out on deck? I know, was it Dan went? Yeah, and then Everett, what did you do?
Everett's going
Remind me.
around to help people. I mean, there are likely some
Right.
people on deck that'll
So
need
the-
some help.
The
And
two
those
of you.
12 drinks that he got were for pouring on his wounds. Everett doesn't drink.
No.
It's
So, as the two of you who remain up on deck go about your business, as you approach the first mate, before you even get to ask him his name, you look over his shoulder, Dan, and see in the distance, coming out of that low cloud base, the Prince Hendrik. You look up at your battered ship, look down, and you realize you don't need Captain Chandahar to tell you you're not faster than they are anymore. And that happy thought is where we will drop the curtain on today's first episode of 1866. Whew. Thank
I'm
you.
Sheriff Scrooge scenarios. This is just a pig's fate.
Well, as all first episodes, the GM, or in this case, Story Keeper. You like my new title? I like it. I like Story Keeper as a title. That's my new one. I finally came up with one I liked. Always does a lot of talking in the first episodes of these shows because you have to sort of set the mood and the pattern. So that's going to change. You guys are going to talk a lot more because listen to this. I can't do this every week. But that is absolutely par for the course for first episodes. We've got it started. We're moving now. And that brings me to my favorite bit of these shows, which is the thank yous. And I love this cup. I know I am not pouring red stuff all over my face. I love this cup. It's one of those freezy cups, but I never freeze it, so it's just a joke cup. The thank yous. Oh, man. Playing one of my games can be challenging because they're not sort of straightforward like a lot of games are. Playing Balance can be really challenging. It's Balance, by the way, Mudkip Duality was taken. Is really tough because there's so little rules to give you directions. There's no spell list, there's no weapon list, there's no ranges, there's none of that. You have to just kind of wing it all. And then, again, playing with each other in a group that didn't know each other particularly well before this, I have nothing but the greatest of respect for these four wonderful people. Sans, thank you so, so much. And please, please, please finish your stuff so we can make your big announcement next week.
Oh.
It's killing me.
It's been killing me.
But thank you so much for playing Lady Mary and coming up with, you know it, I love it, creative solutions to problems. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, Everett played for us by the Scarred Adventurer. I realized the other day, there are people, if they've only ever seen this channel, they've never seen you play a Dark Bastard before. They've only ever seen you play the Silly Bugger in Corsairs and some of the Silly Buggers in the Friday Fun Shots. So they are in for a treat. Thank you so much for going to your forte with this one, and I'm hoping 9 more weeks to play them out should be good fun. And I didn't tear his arm off. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's I thought about it. That's all I'm going to say. Beowulf played for us by Solar Dasher. Oh, wow. You not only have an invisible dog, it now has a green collar. It's even better.
Yeah,
So it's a
poor Blake.
headless dog.
He me
Kind of
just
that
one
floating
from
head
ahead.
dog.
But thank you so much, as always, for coming in. This again, a completely different character. Absolutely nothing like what you played in Corsairs. Thank you so much for coming back and bringing this new and grumpy bugger to the game. I love him very much already.
Oh, he's gonna have a blast. I believe it already.
He's one of those, and then does it anyway, guys. Oh, yeah, I know that guy. And I saved you for last again. I did it at the start. I'm going to do it again because huge respect for your bravery to come in here and just throw yourself into this character and role play with us in a system you didn't know, with people you didn't know, with a story keeper you didn't know, in a tabletop you didn't know. I appreciate that bravery from the bottom of my spleen, which is much, much lower than the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Chip, for joining us. And I'm really looking forward to see where Dan ends up going over the course of the next 11 weeks.
11. Well, either
Oh, sorry,
way, I'm looking
9
forward.
more.
It's gonna be
I'm
fun.
already starting to add episodes because I'm having so much fun. No, 9 more. 9 more weeks.
I'm here for that. So
Excellent.
It's been great.
Oh, I'm
Thank
glad you enjoyed. And that leaves 2 thank yous left. One for all the people in chat. I see a lot of familiar faces over there, and I see some new ones as well. Thank you all so much. The Discord link is over there. Pop over there. The Dirty 20 Gaming YouTube link is also over there because my people are way smarter than I am. And you can see all of this stuff within a couple, 3 or 4 days. Generally, it'll be over on YouTube, but you can also get caught up. Once we're 3 or 4 episodes in, you can get caught up there too. Thank you, Thunderscape. Speaking of which, of the hands and Thunderscape. Our new art director is responsible for our new overlay and our new logo and all kinds of wonderful stuff. And a big personal thank you and shout out to Thunderscape 7 as well. You can find them under that logo all over the internets. Please do show your love over there as well. And then the people at that YouTube channel, thank you, the future people, for watching this as well. Which takes us to the end. This bit. Until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.